My next guest is Rich Harvey from Propertybuyer. Rich runs a team of buyer's agents, or buyer's advocates, as they're sometimes called. I catch up with Rich from time to time and always enjoy our chats, so I was delighted when he agreed to come on the show to share some of his value-adding buying strategies with our Property Success viewers. Rich, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Margaret.
Today we're going to talk about value-adding strategies for property investors. What are some of the best ways that property investors can actually add value to their investments?
Value adding is a great way to go forward for investors. There's several ways they can do it. One, they can do a minor reno or a major reno on their properties, just add renovation tips. Another thing they can do is add a granny flat. They could even think about putting in furniture into their rental property. They could think about subdividing a property if it's large enough. But really the renovation strategy is one of the major ones that people can add value to, because you're taking an existing property, it's got a tired kitchen, daggy carpet, bad cupboards, and you're just giving it a fresh coat of paint, carpet, polish the boards up, put a few new cupboards in, and it can look $1 million. And one thing, don't forget the landscaping. I think a lot of people skimp on the landscaping as well, but that can really add a lot of value.
Okay, let's have a look at subdivision then. There can be some really good rewards in that, but there's a lot of risk that people don't take into account as well.
Absolutely. Look, subdivisions can be fraught with danger. People can forget about easements, covenants, forget about where the sewer lines are located, and they think they can make $1 million just by simply drawing a line on a property and putting it into two. Now, there's a whole host of requirements that investors need to be aware of. And they're all contained in the local DCP, the Development Control Plan. So that's the first point of call investors need to go to investigate whether a property can be subdivided. So you've got to have a team of experts. You're going to need a town planner and a surveyor and the right kind of people around you to help you decide, can a property be subdivided? But on the other side of that are rewards. So if you can buy a property that has subdivision potential, it can be very lucrative. You can buy, for example, a $300,000 to $400,000 property in some good regional areas or the outskirts of the city, subdivide it, and bingo, you can increase your returns, 20-30%.
One of the things I find with property investors, though, is many of them can overestimate the returns because they don't think about the true costs of doing that kind of stuff. What's a reasonable return on investment when you're subdividing? Look,
when you're subdividing, my rule of thumb is you should be making around 80% cash-on-cash return and a net profit of around 18 to 20%. 20% is sort of a development benchmark, and if you carry that through to a small-scale subdivision, I think it should stack up for you. You've got to allow for contingency. There will always be a cost overrun. Everyone knows with their renos there's always a cost overrun. So allow a 5 to 10% contingency and have that buffer in your account.
How do you find these subdivisions, though? It's not like they're lying around all over the place, and a lot of people have difficulty uncovering them.
Yeah, look, finding subdivision sites, we get asked every day of the week, where are these gems, where are these bits of gold that are out there? Look, it comes down to research, and more research. That's what it takes. It really takes a lot of hard slog to find these properties. For us, it's about our network. We have a fantastic network of agents, and we get to regularly communicate with these agents. And when you build up a relationship with agents in an area, you're going to get sent a lot of opportunities. So it's really about the depth of your network that enables you to find these. So other places you can find them, you can find them through town planners, even solicitors, people thinking of selling, but your agent network is the key.
Let's talk now about renovations, and I know a lot of people like to renovate, but from what I can see, many of them overcapitalise. What's a good way to renovate?
Look, a great way to renovate is set your budget up front. Begin with the end in mind is my advice. So look at what properties are selling for renovated versus what they're selling for unrenovated, and you're looking at that price differential. Now, if there's a wide gap in the prices, then that's a good area to renovate in. So, for example, you're not going to put in Caesar stone bench tops in a property in St Mary's. But equally, you're not going to put a laminate bench top in a property in Mossman. So you've got to pick the right finishes that suit the area and look for things that tenants want. So a tenant wants a dishwasher. They would want a good quality oven. They want good open plan areas. So you've got to renovate to their tastes and requirements. And you can be quite clever in the way you renovate. I've seen people turn a laundry into a study area and then integrate the laundry into the bathroom and create a whole new media nook, which is fantastic. The key thing is just not to overspend on your appliances. You can go to Grays online and buy cheap appliances. And the more you do yourself, the more you save. But that's a two-edged sword. I really think people should outsource a lot of the reno work. If you're not a professional, you don't know how to plaster or do wiring, don't do it. Get a professional to do it. Get your 3 quotes. That's always my advice. and really manage the reno on a timeline. You almost need a Gantt chart to actually identify when you have to do things, which trade's coming in and out. And if you can compress that process down, you're going to get a much better result because you won't have the property vacant and losing rent.
There's a big difference between how you renovate as an investor and how you would renovate as an owner-occupier. How do you avoid overcapitalising as an investor?
Well, as an investor, as I said, you look for the things that the tenants will require. You don't need to go all out and put in Miele appliances, perhaps a Westinghouse or an Ariston oven will do for that area. So the key is look at what, ask a property manager, what are the features that tenants require in these areas? If I add an extra bedroom, if I put a new kitchen in, how much extra rent will I get? And you can work backwards from that point. So talking to the local manager, talking to local agents, asking what have other successful investors done in this area? What can I do to this property to add value without going too far?
Before we finish up, just a brief look at granny flats. WA is now allowing them. Queensland's on the cusp of also including them. Are they overrated or can they really give you a good return?
My personal opinion, there's still plenty of petrol left in the tank. There's still plenty of opportunity to do granny flats. I actually think they're underrated, to be honest with you. You can spend $100,000 on a good quality 2-bedroom granny flat and get $300 a week return. On its own, it's a fabulous investment. In Sydney, where we've been doing it for many years, we have nil vacancy with our flats. And the reason we have that is because of the design we've chosen. It's about positioning the granny flat at the right spot on the block, getting the right privacy, getting the right finishes in those granny flats. It's also about choosing the right property to put the granny flat on. I mean, the minimum is 450 square metres, but you wouldn't put a flat on that size block. It's just too squishy. You've got to get blocks over 600, 650 to really make it work. So I think there's plenty of opportunity, and we're actually looking at the Brisbane market at the moment for that strategy because we've been so successful in Sydney. We think Brisbane is the next market and really identifying that.
That sounds great. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure. Thanks, Margaret.
Thank you. Thanks for your expert take on this subject, Rich. I have to take a short break now before I can bring you the rest of the show. Don't go away. I'll be right back.